I'm Ronnie from Ronnie's Garage in Southern California. Welcome to our first hands-on, without touching Zoom technical meet. And what we're going to do today, instead of being super vehicle specific, we're going to be talking about basic electrical concepts and testing. Let's go to the cars and we'll start looking at where the fuse boxes are. And we'll start with the early post-war, and that's this old Mark VI over here. So here is the fuse box. It has a Bakelite cover that goes over it. And it has these push-in fuses like the one we rebuilt. And after what I said, you look at this and you go, oh my God, somebody has really cheated here. Now, on this model, this is a main feed for the whole, a big heavy duty feed. And that is factory right there. That's how they did it. So that's not to be worried about. I've seen bolts, all kinds of stuff stuck in these things. But on a Mark VI, R-type, Silver Wraith, this is where you find the fuse box. They're always right here on the right side of the firewall. This also has a couple of extra fuses here. This is a coach-built car. See, it has the glass fuses in there. And one thing I'd like to talk about, it's hard to do this, but these tangs, if you look at them, these are really close together and these are far apart. They over time, they will get hot and they will kind of stretch out. So I always like to clean them up. They have to push over those little screw holders down there. And I don't know what this probably feeds the top. This car's got a lot, oh, now it doesn't want to fit back in. Delightful. There we go. Be careful not to overbend them. Okay, so let's go to the next series of cars, the Silver Cloud series. This is a Silver Cloud 1, very familiar looking, right? But it has, this one actually has the same kind of fuse as that. The later Clouds have the next step up fuse. This one has one missing. That is the interior light fuse. I have that out because I've been working on the interior, and if you work for extended times with doors open and you have a weak battery, you will kill it. So that's why that one's out. I will remember to put that back in. This also has an auxiliary fuse here. Okay, let's go to the next series. We'll go to the Silver Shadow series. Now, the fuse box is on the driver's side, so it depends on which handed drive it has. And it is under the steering column. And what you'll see, there's a little drop down door here. It has a thumb screw here, not all the way, okay? And you'll see this has a lot of different stuff. They've got of those glass fuses, these rewrapping long, there are a couple on the side here. I think they're for the seats. This right here is a really cute little thing here. This is a multiple circuit breaker. I don't want to break it, so I'll leave it in there, but you'll see if you pull it out, it's probably got about 8 spades that plug in. This will tell you right here, the door locking, if headlights aren't working, reset. Same with the door locks and the gear shift. And that's how they do this one. There is also another, on some year models, there's another circuit breaker up in that cubby. You reach up in there, you can feel it. It's hard to see. So this is the Shadow series up to 76. Now the next change they did, when they went to the Silver Shadow 2, my screwdriver, they moved the fuse box here. It's got these little Zeus type screws that turn a quarter turn. There we go. And then you've got plenty of fuses in. Look at this. Somebody has put, I like that, oh my, this is some creativity. They put a glass fuse and mounted it to a blade fuse. I like it. Ingenuity. Okay, it's got a couple of these resettable breakers here. Fuse boxes are a source of a lot of problems on cars, especially these early ones. This one has been forced in. As you see, that's too big a fuse. See how much too long it is? Somebody's forced it in. I've found a lot of problems in here just I've fixed a lot of problems by pulling the fuse out, cleaning the ends, cleaning the tabs, and kind of squeezing them a tiny bit to give them a little more tension, pushing them back in, and fix a lot of problems that way. Okay. The next step was in spirits and spurs, and Corniche kind of fits in with year range. So a 70, say a 78 Corniche would have the same fuse box as that. This is an 86. And what you got here is the fuse box is in the same place. They got rid of the screw. Look at that, and then put a nice little push button. Okay. Okay. Once again, this is a combination of glass fuses and circuit breakers. I even put your flasher. This one's got a nice little legend in there. This right here is a circuit breaker with some wires going to the back of the fuse box. And then the old style fuel pump. So where they had problems was the fuse box. The wires would get hot at the back and melt, and the car would quit running. So a factory fix or bypass was to put on a resettable, self-resetting, so that's a 30 or 35 amp circuit breaker, and it doesn't have a button. What it does is when it gets hot enough to open a circuit, it opens it. When it cools down, it closes it again. So you don't have to set it, it resets itself. That's kind of nice. So, how long does it take for it to cool down? Not too long usually. Depends on how hot it is. So now the next step, we'll go into the 90s, and you might want to go in there first so I can squeeze. We're going to get into this black car here. This is a 93 turbo. It's my piece of junk. Same location for the fuse box, same little button, but now we got glass fuses, okay, or the plastic blade fuses. And this has a really nice circuit here. It's got the Bosch relays. They converted to those, probably because of cost and space. I don't know if the reliability is all that much better. A relay is a relay. The color codes are really nice. They originally came with a little tool that was snapped on here so you could grab these and pull these out. Much cheaper fuses. One thing I was just remembered, now Rolls-Royce in their infinite wisdom would fuse every circuit if possible, but they didn't have space, I think. So they ran multiple circuits on fuses and forgot to list them on here. So sometimes you're looking for a problem on a car, and it's the circuit you think you're looking for, and that fuse is good, so you think the fuses are fine. But a good practice I have found is to check all the fuses right out of the gate. With a test light, these tangs, so you can stick your test light on there and check it. So if you find a fuse that doesn't have voltage to either one, that means it's not turned on, so don't think that it's bad. If you find a fuse where one side is got voltage and the other does not, that means the fuse is bad. Okay. Now we'll go to the latest version of the SZ cars. Oop.
To clean the contacts, what do you suggest? Sandpaper?
You can use sandpaper, a little Scotch-Brite.
No chemicals.
I wouldn't spray anything on a fuse box unless I had it out of the car. Now this is a 97 turbo, and they moved the fuse box. Oh, this is, if you can get your camera in there, you can see it. It's way, this is made. Do we have any questions now?
Yeah, we got one from Perry. On the Shadow 2, is there a separate fuse for each of the door locks?
Oh, there's that one reset. They're all fed through the switches. There's two switches. So they go to the driver's door, the main feed, and then it goes to the other door. So if you have one that's not working, it's typically in the circuit, or on that Shadow 2, they have these giant door lock solenoids that like to get moisture in them, and they get sticky.
And then Paul says, curious what to check first on a Shadow 1 or 2 with intermittent shift actuator. Here, clicking from the column but not shift movement. Connections are good, and breaker relay is good.
Okay. The Shadows don't have too many problems with the actuator. Typically, it's the contacts on top of the steering wheel. I don't know if we have one of those apart. If you pull that plastic cowling off, you'll see on the top there's a little wiper that slides between terminals, and there's also a feed that goes through the handle. Now, I have found many times, if everything looks good up there, looks like they're all making contact, that the shaft that the gear shift turns on gets play in it. It starts wobbling around, and then you get your intermittent open circuit. If that is all good, then you can get out in the gear shift actuator. It's bolted on the side of the transmission. You take that off and you can open it up, and there are 2 relays for the 2 directions that that motor turns. And that might be a problem there, but it's typically in that cowling, that gear shift delicate little cowling. That's typically where the problem is. There's also a junction plug down under your feet where it goes through the floor to the out to the transmission, but that's typically where that problem is.